What's up, guys? Welcome back to DCA. So what we're going to do in this video is take a look at Ethereum. In yesterday's video, what we did was we looked at Bitcoin and we looked at the market cap of Bitcoin and the market cap dominance specifically. And what we said was that essentially the way that the market cap dominance is calculated as it is right now, it includes the stablecoins. And stablecoins, when you're in a downtrend, are going to stay at $1, whereas your assets are going to be dropping in value. So your dominance for an asset is always going to look artificially suppressed. And a lot of people have been comparing now for years. They've been comparing this market cycle, the market cap dominance of Bitcoin and Ethereum, to the total crypto market cap. But that is no longer a valid comparison because of the fact that stablecoins simply were not around back in 2016, 2017, and really into 2018, all the way through 2020. I mean, if you go pretty much to the end of 2019, the market cap of your stablecoins was around $4 billion or so. And right now, where we're sitting, the market cap of the stablecoins is all the way up to around $140 billion plus or minus. So the comparison is no longer valid. So what we've done is we've taken that metric and we've removed the stablecoins from it, and we've come up with the true market cap dominance for Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other asset that you want to look at for that matter. And we've created a new trading view metric. As with everything else, it's a free trading view metric. So if you're interested in downloading that or, getting access to it, you can go over to the Discord and sign up for it there. So what we're going to do today is apply the same type of analysis that we did for Bitcoin yesterday. We're going to apply it to Ethereum today. And I think that it's interesting because, a lot of times when we're looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, the story is going to play out exactly the same. But in this case, it hasn't played out exactly the same. And I think that there are some potentially interesting findings here that could be relevant to the way that you approach investing in the asset. So the first things first, let's look at the price of Ethereum. Right now, we're trading at around $1,100. Okay. And what we're looking at here on the bottom, this is another script that we have that you can get access to on the Discord channel. This basically just shows you the drawdown from the all-time high. All right. So when it's up at this 100 level, that means that the asset is at its all-time high. So you can see each time that it hits this top, it's basically at the all-time high. And then you can see how far down it comes from the all-time high. And right now, we are around 77% down from that all-time high that we made back here in November. So that's pretty much uniform across the board, though. Bitcoin's down around 70% from its all-time high. And then you have a lot of assets that are down 90% or more at this point. So a lot of things have been getting hammered over these last few months. And there's nothing surprising about that. So what we're going to quickly look at here is the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, all right? And this chart is pretty interesting for the fact that you can see that Ethereum has essentially been in a long-term uptrend. Let's just switch this over to a weekly chart here. It's basically been in a long-term uptrend against Bitcoin, all right? So, over time, we've been seeing that Ethereum has basically just been doing this. And interestingly, we are essentially right at this upward trend line that we've been forming all the way since basically the beginning of 2020. We got up to around half of the valuation of Bitcoin. So you could see it, right around 0.53. In other words, 53% of the valuation of Bitcoin. And since that time, it's came all the way down to around 35% right now. So we're sitting right at this trend line. And, that was something we've been watching and we've been talking about on the channel. We've been saying that, it's going to be interesting to see as we were coming back up to this resistance level back here in March, and we sort of got rejected right off of it. All right. So you can see there's kind of a resistance zone right in here, and we got rejected. And because of that, now we're back down to this trend line. Now, common wisdom would say that, if we're in this bearish trend that we're in, we may see that Ethereum falls below this, because what we typically see is Bitcoin is going to hold its value better than most of the altcoins. And there's been debate whether that will apply to Ethereum or not in this market cycle, and time will tell. But, it's kind of at a critical level right here. So this is going to be a sort of dramatic level to watch for this asset. So the next thing to look at is the Ethereum market cap dominance. So this is just the traditional total crypto market cap dominance, right? And you can see, just like against Bitcoin, Ethereum had been on this longer term uptrend. And now if you're watching this chart, and I've seen some people, talking about this and drawing this chart out and then saying, look, Ethereum's fallen below this trend line where we've been following now ever since the beginning of 2020. But, that's quite frankly, I don't think exactly the case because of the things that we talked about in yesterday's video. And we're going to look at this in a bit further detail, but you'll notice that we've fallen below this level. And, Ethereum prior to that had been trading right in this range here. And right as we came down to this level, we just sort of crashed right through. So the first thing, in order to understand this chart, we need to understand this. This is the stablecoin dominance chart. All right. So notice this stablecoin dominance chart. And remember, when we look at a total crypto market cap dominance, we are looking at an asset. So in this case, Ethereum, divided by the total crypto market cap. Okay. So how do we get the total crypto market cap? All we do is take Bitcoin, Ethereum, Luna, et cetera, and we just add them all up. Included in that metric is the stable coins. All right. And what you see here is, if we go back all the way to 2019, look at the percentage of the total crypto market cap that was comprised of altcoins. It was 2.2%. All right. Look at where we're at now. We're all the way up to around 18%. So this means that 18% of the total crypto market cap is comprised of assets which do not change price. They're always at $1. So when you are in one of these downtrends, when you're in a longer term downtrend, exactly like we're in now, so when the prices are just going down and down, you're compared to the total crypto market cap, then these values are going to be suppressed. And notice when Ethereum fell through this level. So it basically started in May, and then it really fell through in June. Well, what happened in May and June? And the total crypto market dominance of stablecoins absolutely exploded during that time. So that means that this number that you're seeing is not an accurate number, okay? Because back in 2019, where we'll traditionally look, and if we just come here, we'll come look back in 2019. Look at the Ethereum market cap dominance, even in parts of this this bear market that we were in. Okay, so we were all the way up here, but there were no stable coins back then. I mean, there were, but in terms of how large they were, it was negligible. And now it makes up a massive portion of the total crypto market cap. So it obscures this number. It's giving us a partially false reading. Lots of people keep their cash, their free cash, they keep it in stable coins rather than keeping it in actual US dollars like people used to do. So now any, dry powder that people have sitting around on an exchange, it's sitting there in stable coins very often now. And that's because you can move these stable coins around freely, and you cannot move around US dollars freely. So we've seen that starting in May, this has absolutely exploded. And realistically, you'll notice where big run-ups in the stablecoin dominance occur. And they occur during bearish stages of the market. That's because people are liquidating their riskier assets and they're turning them into stablecoins. So you see it back here in May of 2021. You saw it here after this November sell-off. You saw it rise precipitously. It started to fall a bit in March when the markets were rallying. And then what happened? It just took off, especially after the Luna event, Luna UST event. It just took off. So we went from around 7% all the way up to around 18%. And now this is going to be, so then we'll kind of put it all together then. This is the Ethereum market cap dominance. This is that chart where we were just looking at here. We were sitting right at around 15%. 15% of the total crypto market is Ethereum. And this is showing where we sort of fell through that, that upwards trend line that we'd been forming. So now we're going to use the new Ethereum market cap dominance and the more traditional Ethereum market cap dominance. And so this sort of shows you how is Ethereum actually doing against other altcoins, not against stablecoins. We don't care how Ethereum is doing against stablecoins. That's essentially just how it's doing against the US dollar. But we don't want to include US dollars in this calculation because that doesn't really tell us anything. And so what you can see is when you look at this market cap dominance, Ethereum looks like crap. If we just look at the white, this is the traditional metric, and Ethereum looks terrible. So we can actually measure what the percentage change is here. So from, basically from April until where we're at now, that's a 23% drop against the altcoin market. But in reality, when we measure it out, it's only, it's still not pretty, but it's only a 17% drop. So it's a non-negligible difference right now. And we'll just get rid of that. And so what you can see is in reality, we have seen it retract against Bitcoin and a lot of the altcoins. But when you look at it from this perspective, when you get rid of the stable coins, notice we have not fallen below that trend line anymore. And falling below trend lines like this is usually not a good thing. It usually tends to lead to a longer term downtrend. But in fact, when we sort of look at the data without those stable coins, you can see that we have not fallen below this trend line. And that to me is a good thing. It does mean we have room to go to the downside before we sort of perhaps get a bounce off of this trend line. But what it does tell me is the fact that, a lot of the people saying that, look, Ethereum's fallen below this trend line, we're in a longer term downtrend for Ethereum. That's quite frankly, I don't believe that that's true based on everything that we're seeing here. If you look at this trend line that we've been forming ever since May of 2021, we are sort of getting a bounce right off of that level where we thought that we might, right at this 18% level. So we've come down multiple times in this cycle and hit this here. We hit it there. We came down and got close, extremely close to it. I mean, we're talking tenths of a percent here. And then we're right at it right now and getting a bounce. So ultimately, this is something we need to consider. Ethereum has been trading in this range essentially ever since May of 2021. So over a year now, we've been right in this range, right at around 18% of the market cap, all the way up to, at peak, 23.5% of the market cap. Okay. So we are still in this range, and we're getting a bounce right off of this level right as we come down to it. So the next thing that we'll look at then is we're going to get rid of Bitcoin out of the equation, and we're just going to look at Ethereum versus the altcoins. Okay, but again, the metric as it's constructed right now, so if you go on TradingView and you make this metric yourself right now, you're going to be including all of the stable coins, and we don't want those in our calculation. And we're seeing the exact same thing. It's falling below this trend line. But we know that the stable coins, make up a huge percentage of the altcoins now. So what we can do then is sort of get this metric. So this is showing us Ethereum versus only the altcoins. So this is just Ethereum versus the altcoins. And this is the metric, is kind of how it's constructed right now. So we'll call this the classic Ethereum dominance. But what we want to do, we don't care about this. So this is telling us that Ethereum only makes up, 38% of the altcoin market. But we know that that's not true. So we can come into this indicator that we have here and select show Ethereum dominance versus alts, excluding stablecoins. All right. And that shows us a completely different story. So what we see is that in reality, Ethereum makes up not 38% of the altcoin market, it makes up 65% of the altcoin market. And we are in a definite uptrend we had this one small period here for where just a few days in April of 2021, we fell below this trend line, but we are essentially in this longer term uptrend. And I think this makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense because of the fact that by all rights, Ethereum should have a stronger performance in the bear market than a lot of your other altcoins. And that's for the fact that Ethereum has actual adoption. Many of these other assets do not have adoption, and people are not investing in speculative assets during these extremely bearish phases of the market. So you may consider Ethereum to be a speculative asset, but at the end of the day, comparing it to the other altcoins, it's the only one that actually has true adoption and true use case. Now, some like, Solana, some like, and we're talking layer ones here. A lot of these other layer ones, some of them may have adoption, but it pales in comparison nonetheless to Ethereum. And when you look at revenue, it's not even close. Ethereum's making much more revenue on its network than these other assets are. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate about why that is, and that's a whole nother can of worms that we're not going to open. But when you look at it, when you look at adoption alone, if you could have the greatest technology in the world, if you don't have adoption, it doesn't matter. Okay. What we're seeing is this is in a long-term uptrend, and we've kind of came down to this line, kind of came right down to this level, and we're getting a bounce off of it. So this will be an important level to watch. And then if we break below this, which, I think would be, quite frankly, I think that would be odd for Ethereum to be losing ground to a lot of these other altcoins, which in a bear market, the crypto market may not recover for a year or 2 years, who knows? And so I think it would be odd to see Ethereum losing more ground to these other altcoins, which quite frankly don't have anything even close to the same level of adoption. All right. So the last thing we'll look at is then this. So this is going to be your market cap dominance of Ethereum versus your market cap dominance of Bitcoin. We've talked about this for a long time. We said that when things get really ugly, you really want to start looking at Bitcoin because of the fact that it's very likely that it is going to hold its value better than a lot of the other assets. And so we've seen that, the Luna event, it really happened on May 5th. So since May 5th, Bitcoin has moved from right around here at 45% market cap dominance up to where it's at now at around 53. Okay. In that same time, Ethereum has gone from, right at around 21% all the way down to 18.5%. So we've seen Bitcoin gaining over this time against the entire crypto market cap, while we've seen Ethereum losing during this time. And what this metric is looking at here is, the market cap of Bitcoin and Ethereum versus the altcoins. All right. And that is excluding the stablecoins. We don't really care about that. Remember, when we're talking about all of these things today, unless I specifically mention otherwise, we're excluding the altcoins. All right. So we see that since this Luna event has happened, Bitcoin has been gaining and Ethereum has been losing against the, just the total crypto market cap. All right. And another interesting thing is we see that, Ethereum has essentially been on this long-term uptrend, and we're kind of right at that level, like we said now. And Bitcoin, on the other hand, has been on a long-term downtrend. But ever since the market kind of started getting ugly in January, Bitcoin has started a new uptrend. Right. So we've seen it kind of break out of some of these levels that it had been struggling to get above, and now it's moving above. Whereas on the other hand, when we're looking at the whole market, Ethereum's kind of right at this level. Is it going to bounce off of this level, or are we going to fall below it? So Ethereum is kind of at a critical juncture right here. It's right at these long-term uptrends. I mean, it's literally right at this sort of this cross of a long-term trend that we've been forming ever since May of 2021, or really ever since December of 2019. So if you see Ethereum kind of fall down and start to go below this level, I think that's a bad sign. That's going to be a bad sign, at least for the bear market. and you could see Ethereum head into a much longer downtrend. But when we kind of get rid of those stable coins, we can see that a lot of people who have been saying that, we've fallen below these trend lines, in fact, we haven't. We're still kind of right at that trend line. We're still being held up by it. And, what you would expect right now is to get a bounce off of it. What I'm expecting is that Bitcoin is going to hold up better than Ethereum, and Ethereum is going to hold up better than a lot of the altcoins. There's always exceptions to the rule, but at the end of the day, you want to be investing in assets that have better fundamentals. And in this case, when it comes to layer ones, the number one fundamental that matters is going to be adoption. If you don't have adoption, it doesn't matter how good your technology is. It literally doesn't matter. Your token's not going anywhere. Ethereum has adoption and it has a stranglehold on that market in that sense. So, this will be interesting to watch, guys. This metric is available for free on the Discord channel. Like I said, you can go there and sign up for it. And until next time, guys, as usual, see you.